Yes.
That is also so important for me to hear that you say that, because when we think about the relationships of young people, not just parent and their children or parents and their children, but as a whole, thinking generationally, some of the younger generation, they have bought into what you pointed out as is a myth that there are not people doing their part. There are very responsible people out here, and the younger generation, if they buy into the myth that nobody's looking out for them, then it's a breakdown in their developmental process. So programs like this, conducting these interviews, documenting it and airing it, hopefully the younger people out there will see what's being done, and then they'll look at their own situation and say, you know what, my parents, they are doing their part. They're looking out for me. Let me do my part now. Let me do what I need to do. But if you don't think anybody's doing anything for you, you're not going to want to fool with them or listen to them.
Right. And I often get the idea that I'm in this by myself. But you got to go back and look at grandma and grandpa.
Exactly, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Whether they're still with you or not, what were some of the things that they're saying? What did they say to me? And value that.
But see, what I think too is that this is a learning process. This is a training process. This helps other parents.
Exactly.
When they see what we're doing, they can learn from that. And I think the second part of that is teachers as well. Because when we talk about praise, if my child does very well when they're praised, that's a good mechanism that the teacher can use for my child.
Right.
My child does very well when you talk to them in a certain way or you praise them a lot. That's very essential in the learning process.
Then we interviewed Nicole Homer.
Yes.
Okay.
Nicole was very interesting as well because, before the interview, she had touched base on where she had gone to college at and different things. She has a lot of consequences for her child, like family. We went over like family rules, how much time you spend, like your child watching the television. And of course, on television now are a lot of negative things being played, and the children at a young age watch these things. Because I work for Head Start, so I have young children. And some of the things that you see and hear from these young children, you would not believe. So it starts at a young age. And she, was a learning experience for her because she was always organized, having her child ready for school. She always checked the child's book bag. She told what family routines that she had to help keep them out of trouble, teaching them from right and wrong, playing fairly in school, and what she does. But it was just, interesting in having her on too. So the interviews get better and better, as you will see once we start airing them on some of the interviews that we've conducted, because I have done 25 interviews.
Right.
So.
Yes, and with Nicole, I thought what's interesting was the fact that she pointed out that there are consequences. That if the child does something, there are consequences.
There's consequences.
And so often we think in the schools, well, this child's acting this way because there's probably nothing happening in the home to correct the behavior. But she stated she's doing her part because if there's something that she's concerned about in reference to her child, she has certain consequences.
Right.
Then we had Trina Gale. And Trina was a parent, and then also she was a grandparent.
She was a grandparent, and her concern is also all you hear her talk about is her grandchild this, her grandchild that. And if you don't mind, I want to give shouts out because Trina got married yesterday.
Okay.
So congratulations to you, her and her husband.
Yes.
But she was more nervous than on the television, going on the television. I said, you'll do just fine, because on how you talk to me about your grandchild, do the same thing as if you were not even on camera. And she talked about why she thought it was important to introduce herself to her grandchild's teacher. She knew them by their name, or they knew her very well by name.
Yes.
What field trips she had gone on. Limiting the distractions. Again, we're going back on that. Just not the television, because as you emphasized on internet, that internet could be a dangerous place for
absolutely
people, for children to be on, because there's so much going on, and if you don't have things blocked out, then that always goes forward. And then she talked about that education was a priority because she also has a daughter that's graduating that's in the 12th grade. So carrying down that legacy, that is something Trina, is very well with. So.
And she, one other thing she pointed out was that she talks to her child. When the child comes home, she asks her grandchild, how was your day? She said, because often you'll find that maybe something happened or something took place that just wasn't right.
Right.
And if you don't take time out to begin to talk with them, you won't know. And then they'll remain disgruntled. And so she pointed out that she talks to them, and then once she talks to the child, what she said, she talks to the teacher to get the facts straight. In other words, we've seen situations, the child comes home, they're upset, and we're ready to take action and move on it.
Right.
But what I thought was nice when she pointed out that then she contacts the school and talks to them to begin to get a better picture of what is taking place. So that's how she does her part. When something comes up that's not right, she goes and gets the facts, and then from there begins to make plans on her actions. And then lastly, because you did 6 interviews the first time around, Tanise Johnson.
Great job.
Tanise, well, she had 2 boys, and it was important to her to talk about how to encourage them to play fairly and things on treat people like you want to be treated, no name calling. She was very, sympathy about that. She talked about the home rules that she had for her child's learning, how well she was organized for school at night. That night she had everything they needed for the next day. That's very important to do. Instead of if you're getting that extra Z in the morning, that if you had the stuff ready, you could get that extra Z, but sometimes you can't. But I always, as me getting ready for work each and every day, I have my stuff ready the day before.
And that's what I liked about her. She stated she makes certain the children puts things out the night before.
Yes.
So that if you come up, that clock goes off, you don't hear it, you're ready. So we were really appreciative of these interviews, and what we're going to do is be able to show, once we work out the technicalities, the real faces at our later time period. I want to also share with our viewing audience that we will be getting ready for our SAT prep classes, and they will start in November. And we will bring on some of the instructors in the SAT prep. We're thankful for the city of Wilmington that they work with us in Department of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Sheehy and all the people down there.
Yes.
Ms. Monk and all, and helping us to get set up so that we can offer these courses free of charge. We supply the young people with the materials that they would need, and we purchase everything, and so that they can study and get good scores on taking that SAT test. So that's going to be coming up in November. Look for us as we continue to go about. Look for Ms. Cornicay and the camera coming, checking out parents and seeing if they are doing their part, and officials in the schools also.
I just want to mention that I thought you had told me our first parent meeting is October the 19th.
Yes.
At Bancroft.
Thank you for reminding. Yes, we will be having our first parent meeting. It's coming up October 19th. I think we're going to try to do something a little special. We might try to go to a special restaurant. We finished up the year at the restaurant. But the meetings will be the 3rd Wednesday of each month at Bancroft School.
At what time?
And the start at 6. So please contact us if you're interested. You can call Mr. Pritchett, 302-275-1746. That's 302-275-1746. And parents, please remember, as you go about and you encounter people, you ask them, have you IDMP today? We thank you for giving us opportunity to come into your audience.
Could I share something quickly
Yeah.
before we go?
Sure.
All right. As we were doing the program tonight, the phone rang. And it was a fan On the Road with Doc Pritchett. And they wanted to compliment the Pritchetts on what a great job you guys are doing with this program. And I just wanted to echo that. Thank you, Karen Fitzgerald, for that.
Okay.
Well, we want to give a special thanks to the we had attended the Hispanic parade, and we did interview a lot of parents,
Yep.
and we want to thank them for their cooperation
Yep.
as well for this
IDMP.
IDMP
Yeah,
program.
and also Mr. Livingston
And
down
Mr.
at,
right,
and
at
Mr.
Stubbs.
Dr. Valiant.
Right.
So we will be bringing on those other interviews. We thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.